Melissa is a leading pleasure advocate. She's an erotic blueprint coach. So if you know about Jaya, know what that is. If you don't, check it out. She's a sex and intimacy and relationships expert, but not in the way that most of us think. So I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to think about this. If you have kids in the room, if you have some triggers around deep intimacy and raw conversation and real conversation, maybe you want to skip this interview. But if you really want to go deep, so to speak, and you really want to get to know yourself better and get to know your partner better, stay tuned. This is going to rock and roll. Everyone, I can't tell you how excited I am today to have Melissa Louise. Melissa is someone that I ran into, or actually heard her speak at one of my mastermind events at Your Best Life. And all I can say is, not only was I blown away, but a lot of people were blown away. I think everyone was blown away by her. So let me tell you a little about her. Let me just start by saying how grateful I am that I met you when I was at a retreat in Mexico actually it was Costa Rica. You were in Mexico.
I was in Mexico.
Yeah, you were in Mexico, and we had a relationships retreat. It was the very first Your Best Life YBL trip that they ever did. And it's a mastermind I'm a part of. And we do 4 trips a year. And one of them is, they're always focused on 4 different parts of life. And this one was relationships. And you were one of our speakers. And I remember thinking, cool, this sounds interesting, but I don't even think you spoke to the group. You may have for a little bit, but what really hit me was when they had sessions with just the women. You had a session with the women, and then we broke away, and then the men went and spoke with you. And I think you spoke to the women first. I know you did, because the women, we were all sitting there just going, at everything you were saying. We're like, oh yeah. And we're like, oh my. I heard a couple of people gasping like they had not heard some of this before. And then when we left and finished off, we went to go have like an appetizer and maybe some drinks or something. And the men went. And the women were talking about what we had heard. And we're thinking, I wonder what she's going to say to the men. And then not 20, 30 minutes later, I won't say who, but one of the men came trickling by and sat down with us. And he wasn't like, I'm not into this. I don't get it. I'm not into it. And so I say all that not to judge or criticize, but I think what occurred to me and why I shifted several times about what I thought we'd talk about today, and I'm just going to let this flow. It may start here and we can go somewhere else. But what hit me was how hard this kind of conversation is to have. Yeah. These conversations around sex and intimacy and getting real. And you open my eyes to so many things about orgasm, about our own bodies and pleasure, because you have the Pleasure Studio, which is your company, your brand. And I was just blown away by it. And I think women have it a little bit easier, but men, I think most of them are going like, oh, I don't know about all this. This is a lot. And I think those that are willing to explore get the benefits. So I'd love to hear from you and tell me a little bit about what you think about that and your experience.
Oh my goodness. First of all, it's so exciting to be here to be talking about this. And I can't remember what you just said, but tears started to rise to my eyes. And I think every time I dive into a conversation like this, all I feel in my body and what I know, and this has been the absolute impetus of my work and how I got into this work, is the human experience is designed for so much more. And when we're looking at men, especially when you give the example of that man, it's like, I don't know. Men have so much greatness that they never reach because they are raised in a world that is made by men for men, which doesn't even make space for I'm trying not to swear, half of the population. Got a bit of a potty mouth. I used to work in the gold mining industry and in stations in Australia, and I was raised on the land, and I'm a good old Aussie that way. The world is made by men for men. And yet half of the population is women, and the men are only here because they came out of a woman's vagina. I love saying stuff like that because sometimes we need a reality check of how the F and hell do you think you got here? It's just like the women birthed the nation. We birthed the nation. We birthed civilizations, and we've birthed all of those people that went to war and killed. Then we have to rebirth all of that stuff. And so many men, most men, and we can dive down later, or even now down the whole realm of how most boys and also many girls are raising themselves on porn, this industry that absolutely removes the experience of women in their own bodies from our culture. And it starts off the way that we're forced to birth, which is laying on our backs with bright lights and a medicalized team taking control as opposed to natural birth. I'm here, and I'll say this always, I'm here and I'm alive and my son is alive because of medical intervention. I was in labor for 5 days, but it wasn't an intervention. It was like, everyone's got their hands up going, there's nothing else we can do. He's not in danger. He's stuck. It's been 5 days, but you can sit here for another 5 days. It was incredible that he wasn't in danger, but he also had his own. He was the first baby born in Australia in theatre in a C-section with the cord not being cut. It went all over through the home birthing. So yeah, so huge stories of this. I don't come here going, oh, I'm just going to study a little bit. Like I have walked through the trenches and I've been on my knees bloody going, all right, it's time to get this out. The fact that women are conditioned to lay down and birth, men have separated we can call it misogynistic, patriarchal, we can give it all labels. But men are actually raised to be really fearful, and women as well, to be really fearful of the wild feminine. There isn't space for her. Girls are forced to go to school whilst they're bleeding. They are given chemical-laden products to stick up inside of their bodies, which starts, it's beautiful. It starts the whole journey to be tied to pharmaceutical companies because we have chem straight away. And also too, we can do anything men can do whilst we bleed. We're not designed to build business, to do exams, to lift bags of soil whilst we're bleeding. We are not designed to do that. Our body, this is where the feminine is the oracle. Our body is so in contact with spirit, which has also been taken out. We've had religions take over spirituality. So we have a world that has no place for the feminine. The only place for the feminine for a woman is alongside a man acting like a man. The feminist movement was ridiculously necessary, because why is it necessary that women have to fight for a place in the world? That in itself is just beyond belief, but I'm here because of it. I know I get to work and I get to speak out loud because of what those women fought for. But what it gave us was this position that we needed to act like men, be men, and work from a space of cortisol driven, masculine driven energy to earn our place next to men. And we're not here to earn our place. We exist. We're fucking here. We are born a walking orgasm. We birth. We're so capable of so much, and we're diminished to this tiny part that we need to wait. We need to have permission. We need to fight for our space. Are you fucking serious? Like, I'm not here to ask permission to be. Yeah, we're here to co-create alongside. And this is another thing coming out of the feminist movement. We're not here to have power over men. We're here to have power alongside of men. We're all human beings, are really powerful. We're having your spiritual bodies, we're spiritual beings having human experiences. And yet we're conditioned to stay in one lane. So we're not conditioned to be in that masculine lane, the production lane, the winning lane. Meanwhile, we're pillaging and raping the great mother, which is Mother Earth, expecting that she's always going to give us food. And when she doesn't, we get pissed off. So we create chemicals and create plastic to eat, all of this stuff. So when men are intimidated, they've never been given the opportunity to be in the face of the wild feminine and not have to fix everything. Men, that's another thing. I mean, we can go into so much depth around this. Men are raised they're incredible problem solvers, like that masculine energy. We are too when we're in our masculine energy. It's drive, direction. If we look at the direction of the erection, it's erect, it's straightforward, and that's the energy of the masculine. And they have incredible, men have the most exquisite power in their sexual energy, just as women, but they're severed from it from birth. Like they're shamed for it. Any young boy oh my goodness, the story of, how old was my son? He would have only been, God, 1.5 years, not even 2. My brother gave birth to a boy 3 weeks later. So we had these 2 boys exactly the same, worlds apart. And here's my son and his cousin in the bathtub. They're not even 2 years old. 2 young boys. We've had the best day. I'm in the bathroom. His mother's in the bathroom, my mother. So the grandmother's in the bathroom as we ran the bath, making sure they've got all the toys and that they wanted. And they've had the best day. So what do? They're naked in the bath in warm water. Of course, they're going to grab their cock. It's the source of pleasure, but they're not looking at pleasure for masturbation. It's like, oh, they're so happy. Like they're wild boys. They grab their cock. And so what does my cousin, my sister-in-law and mother do? They start acting like loonies, their high-pitched voices, trying to get the boys to take attention off their penis which is an appendage, just like an elbow or a toe to an 18-year-old. And so they start acting like pathetic women, afraid, they're fucking afraid. This is this indoctrination. So they're acting to get their boys to take their hands off their penis. So instead of directly saying it until they're afraid and they're pissed off and they've been making this scene for 5 minutes and it hasn't worked, because the boys are looking like, my son was like, his face, his mouth open going, what? You're acting like roosters. I probably thought that, but I'm just looking at these women going. And so the kids, and my son, who's never been raised with shame, he had access to, he was raised with no nappy, so he's access to his whole body. He wasn't ashamed of his bodily fluids, all of that stuff. But his cousin, you could see him just freeze and then just take his hands off at 18 months age. So they're told straight away that their excitement, their pleasure is wrong. Of course.
So do you think that goes into, because what I've seen, and we're in this age of, for me being 50 now and 50, almost 52, but is being with men and being single again after many years, is I'm seeing men that we always talk about that premature ejaculation or that embarrassment or that feeling of like lack of not wanting to be intimate and having conversations. And I think sometimes I was wondering, like, I'm so into human behavior and what makes relationships tick, what makes men or women, where's the missing? Like, where women want to connect, they want to share everything, that we want to talk about it. We want to tell us that we're pleasing you. Tell us what you think about this when I do this to you. And when you get a man who just is silent and says nothing and makes not even a moan, it almost, women, we have to check in with ourselves and say, and I think this happens a lot in relationships or marriages long-term, where we've been in that for a while and it's comfortable and you do the same thing over and over. And going back to tying into what you're saying with men, is that there's this fear of opening up of what's going to happen, because maybe there was some shame back in the day, and just that lack of trust. And I think ultimately what I'm seeing is that we've talked about, like, in the past, I've seen some of your videos and things, and we've talked about like premature ejaculation. But then what I'm noticing more often now is failure to ejaculate. Not that they can't get an erection, but failure to. And then going, I'm okay. It's like how women is always, don't worry about me, it's okay. But no, I'm seeing that in men a lot. And I've thought about that and talked, and I've listened to some of your things too about this. Is it because of masturbation? Is it because of fear? Is it because of intimacy? What do you think some of that is? And I guess what I want to do today is I want people who hear this and who are watching you to have some hope that, like, they can actually truly experience pleasure even when they're in midlife. And if they're single, if they've been in a long-term relationship, that they don't have to throw it away and they don't have to give up, that there's still a possibility to live an extremely pleasurable life and sexually. And even if you never have, it's never too late. So tell me what you think about that.
This is yes, one of my favorite subjects. Because what I love saying to me, as you like, I'm a huge advocate for men as well. And erectile dysfunction, I really also want to pull apart this word. You don't have erectile dysfunction. It's functioning perfectly and telling you need to look at something that you've probably been ignoring for 30, 40 years. So if we look at, even if a man is 50 and he's at that saying that he's experiencing erectile dysfunction, it's like, how many years has he spent not spending enough time alone, not really being in his truth, not shying away, the nice guy shying away from the feminine and not standing in his truth in front of the feminine.
You're saying that the erectile dysfunction is actually how we show up in life. I know one of the quotes I love that you say is about how you show up for yourself in the bedroom is how you show up for yourself in life. Yeah. So this is what your
life is how we do sex. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, because if we look at, erectile dysfunction, if we look at the energy of that word, it's dysfunctional, there's something wrong with me, and generally going to a doctor, we won't go down that track, going to a doctor to put something on to fix. Now, that has nothing, it doesn't just suddenly become dysfunctional. Men are like, we're all living in absolute high cortisol driven lives. We can't have dopamine and oxytocin does not exist in the body at the same level, like at high levels, if there's high levels of cortisol. Men that have gone through a life where they're just doing what they're told, they're not really in their truth, they don't have their mission, they're not spending time with men. Like, you have 30 years of that. You have a nervous system and a brain and then you're 50 going, why is my cock not working? And so most people go, there's something wrong with my cock. Let's say my first thing is, okay, do you get angry? Where you're holding, but what have you given up on? So there's all of that. There's the emotional factor, and men especially raised without, we don't have rites of passage anymore. Men's groups are just starting to come back into where men get to really go and be in safe places to express. We've got so many men that are raised with mothers that are not happy or in single parent families. So they're raised by women that are pissed off, angry, overworked. So they're not so then coming to their partner, and a woman gets angry and then they flee. There's
no good example. It sounds like
no spiral. So it comes back to, what have you given up on? Where are you not taking responsibility for yourself in your emotional health, your physical health, your spiritual health? And that comes back to also, men will spend often, like I speak to so many men, their whole life from the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, they masturbate the same way, which is the quick release, trying to look for freedom. And then they expect their cock to work when a woman's body takes up to 45 minutes to be ready before penetration. And a man is masturbating in 3 seconds, especially now with porn. And it's, hang on a minute. It's the same thing with, we can go down sexual toys as well as like women like using, I'm not here to shame any of that, but we have to look at what are we giving out, how we're training our body to respond a certain way. And then we're turning over here going, oh, but I want it to do something different. So it's like never going to the gym and then expecting to go on a marathon run. It's what the fuck? I walk the stairs up here at the Mirador. It's like the first, I do it a certain way now, but I've had to train to be able to do it. I can go every 2 steps. I can do 2 to 3 rounds. Second step, people say, oh my God. I'm like, it's taken me 4 months to do this. Don't panic. You see me today, but it's not my first rodeo.
Don't expect results quickly. Just know that like it takes time.
But that's how we have to look at masturbation for men. You need to train. Great lovers are not born. You're not born just because you're born with a penis doesn't mean you know how to use it. It's like they need to be made. Great lovers need to be made, and every woman's different every single day through our cycles. Even when we're not bleeding, we're under the cycle of the moon. We have different energy levels. That's coming back to where the world is made by men for men, where there's no space for the feminine, no space for our menstruation, no space for our moon cycle, no space for, I mean, we have this ridiculous word menopause. is the rejuvenation. It's the purple tent. It's like absolute glory, and we're diminishing all of that. So men are conditioned. And if they're raising themselves on porn, they're conditioning themselves that arousal equates to punishment fucking, violent and punishment fucking. So then they're with a woman's body who takes 45 minutes, an hour to be ready for penetration, but the man's he's got to get inside of her. So then if you have a woman going, no, his whole nervous system is, oh, I can't do, the man can't do it. And then comes the ego, and the little boy comes up, and the shame comes up. And this is my favorite saying about Tantra is, it's learning to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Soft cock is one of the most exquisite things for a woman to receive, because she's receiving a man in his vulnerability where there is nothing to fix. Now, if a man if he loses his erection and he stays present with his heart open and this fucking courage in front of the woman, what happens to the woman's pussy? It opens. Oh my God, I want more of you, because now she's received the man in his vulnerability. But most men just run away and just get angry, get shameful. And they get, as you say, they don't.
Or there's this need for the woman to feel like she's done something wrong and she's got to fix it. Like I've been, oh my God, what did I do? Am I not? What's wrong with me? Why? All of this. Yes.
Sometimes you just need water. Sometimes you need to. Sex is not this thing that we do. It's not an act. It's the place that we go to. Now, this place that we go to has fear. It has grief. It has anger. It has desire. It has wants. It has needs. It has nerves. It's fucking courageous. But most people won't even do that in a conversation. And then they're going to get naked and open their souls, their heart and their body to fucking God consciousness. And they can't even tell the truth. They'll sit and watch movies they never want to watch. And they do that for 10 years in a relationship. And they can't even tell the fucking truth. And then they rock up in bed and wonder why things are not working. Sex is not this act. It's this constant place that we bring ourselves into, clothed, unclothed, anything. It's everything.
I think, and I remember when the women in our group, we heard you speak. And when you said, the thing about 45 minutes. And we're like, I hope she tells the men that. And then I did get a report back that you did. And so it was like, yes, because it's not like we always need 45 minutes, but just that awareness of, and thank God I had a great partner then that was someone that really showed me like I learned how to receive for the first time. And that's why I think this conversation about sex is not dirty. It's not taboo. It's what you said about how we do live our lives, is how we do one thing in life, is how we do everything in life. And to me, my inability to receive, I'm a big giver. I'll give all day long, but that receiving is so uncomfortable. But until I learned through being in that space with someone who showed me how to, I'm not like, usually if someone does something to me, it's like, I've got to do something to them too at the same time. I can't just lay here or do whatever or enjoy this because this isn't right. And so being in that space with that person showed me that. And I learned that from you too, about that ability to just be worshiped, adored. And I love your posts and everything you talk about on Instagram and all of your content, because it's so centered around that. It's just being able to, not just in relationship, but for ourselves, and have such love and adoration for ourselves and our sensuality. And because it's not about that dirty taboo space that we're often raised to think, it actually helps us rise up to be able to give and to be present and to be available for others in our lives as well. I love what you said about work and one of your posts is that for men especially, is taking control of their penis, is that they are able to like make more money, be successful, go figure. People are like, really? But really, yeah.
Napoleon Hill was talking about that in the 40s. In his book, Think Big, Grow Rich, he talks about that through all of that. And if we look at, when people say, but if we look at creation, if the ejaculate, so here we have the womb in the woman that grows the human being, but we need the seed, we need the ejaculate to also be a part of the ability of a human being grown. So that ejaculate is liquid fucking gold. Now, if it's not going to create a human being, what can it create? And sex is creation. If we look at creational energy, sex, we can create whatever we want through sex, through manifestation, through mind. This is the bigger part. This is what touch is about. And we're not going to go down, but this is also, how do you think Jesus made so much bread? When he was taught by the greats of Isis and his mother and all of this stuff, Jesus was tantric as hell. But we won't go down that track. But if we look at energy that creates is our sexual energy, and the depletion, so what's inside of the ejaculate, like the neurotransmitters, the hormones, the proteins, all of that is not a waste product, but men treat it as a waste product. So when I also want to come back to that thing that you're talking about, the 45 minutes, I know so many people are like, oh my God, 45 minutes. Number one, women go, oh my God, he's going to get bored and he's going to get annoyed. And that's his stuff to bloody work out. What I say to men, if that shit annoys you, start fucking men, or just masturbate in your hand all the time. Like this, if you're going to be with a woman and a woman's body, you have to deal with the fact that this is how our bodies are made. And that's so fine if you don't want to.
It's so fine if you don't want to. And I think what's so fascinating is having seen both sides, or having been with both men that are like, oh my God, what's the deal? Is that the men who are willing to try that and do the 45 minutes and figure out and really get good at finding out what turns his woman on and how to bring her pleasure and get her to that point where the clitoris is, as you've said, is swollen to the point where it's like there's no lubrication that's needed. I don't care what
all of the industries designed around women not having good sex
or estrogen you don't have. You do that 45-minute thing, and it isn't, I can't speak, I'm not a doctor, but I'm saying my personal experience, you do that right and it's all okay. But I think what's interesting is the men get the reward, because who truly are men and are masculine, not men, but let's use masculine. I want to say men, because obviously there are different types of relationships, but if we're in masculine energy, when they're in that space and they really have this need to make their women happy and to experience pleasure, and they're really there and they're not in their own head and worried about themselves and self-centered, there's gold. There is a reward. There is nothing like it that I've heard from men who've done that and who do that for women. And they're just like, forget me, my God, that is way hotter helping her get there than it is for myself.
So if we look at that, I love what you're talking about there. A man who gets to have a man that creates that space, and I'm going to get back to 45 minutes, right? I've got my finger crossed
Yeah.
here.
Okay,
But
good.
as you're talking about the man that is able to hold the space, create the space, there's two sides to the story. The woman also has to know herself. She has to put in the boundaries, say no, try this. She can't be there silent, expecting the guy to sort it out. That's the other thing. It's like asking questions. The woman has to know her own body. And even if that's not working, can we try something else? Who cares if it takes 2 hours? This is so much fun. It's play, it's curiosity. There's no failure. But when a man is in the face of a woman who has completely unraveled, she's got snot coming out of her nose, she's orgasming after orgasm, because a woman is an orgasm. We're a walking orgasm. So a man who gets to be in the presence because he has created the container, held the space, he's also done all of this incredible gifting to her, he's a whatever. In that, when that's happening, it means that she trusts her body, is in so much trust and surrender that she can't let go. There's no further she can go. Most men will never receive a woman in that space in his whole life. And what his nervous system knows is she doesn't trust him. So most men are fucking women in a space that the woman doesn't trust him. Yeah. So her nervous system, I don't trust this, that she doesn't trust herself because, her pussy doesn't trust her because she doesn't have boundaries. She's not saying no. She's opening her legs, allowing the penis to come in way too early. He's needing to come in so that he can eject because he doesn't want to have this situation. No one's trusting each other. So there's no trust, there's no openness, there's no time. And also our world that is based on production has gotten rid of. If you're in a relationship, the formula is a 3-hour sex date every week. This comes from Kim Anami, and I know everyone who follows it, their whole life changed. This is where they make more money. This is where there's so much more happiness. 3-hour sex date every week, 1 weekend a month, 1 sexcation a year. Where are people's focus? When people say, oh, I don't have time for that, I'm like, this person's just said yes to you. They've gone into fucking debt. This woman's birthed human beings through her body for you, and you can't find 3 hours a week. Yeah? If you don't, someone will for her. What do we do? And people go, that's all about sex. And I'm like, what's his name? Dan Savage talks about this, about where he's often told by heterosexual people that listen to him, oh my God, your focus is all on sex. You're so obsessed with sex. And he goes, no, you guys are obsessed with sex. I go, no, we don't. We work all the time. Yeah. Your husband goes away, receives fellatio from a dancer because he's gone out there. You'll leave him. You'll pull apart the business. For one indiscretion that was probably 7 minutes long, you're willing to throw away your life for 7 minutes. That's an obsession on sex. I'm not here to talk about we should all be polyamorous or anything about it, but I'm just getting that framework where it will go, so our sexual energy, our desire will go somewhere. And when it goes somewhere that's out of integral to the relationship and there's been an indiscretion, people are willing to throw away their life because of that indiscretion, rather than make their intimacy the center of their world. Because why are you together? You didn't come, unless you got an advert off Craigslist, looking for female to have a lifelong of stress, please birth my children and please go into debt with me, and we're not going to be that happy. Please apply within. No, you come together because you're sexually attracted, because it's desire. And then all of your focus shifts on cortisol-based arenas. More children. Don't have 3 children if you have to work so much more for it. Like, what about your partner? What about if you don't have sex and intimacy in the middle of your relationship? Why are you in a relationship? Why?
It occurs to me is when you say that is, I think if it's avoiding intimacy, is that if we really wanted this sex, if we really wanted this connection with our partners, it would be a no-brainer. We lean into the things we naturally want to do that are exciting for us, that feel good, that bring us pleasure. But there's some resistance. I've been in a relationship recently where there's this issue with intimacy and conversation, and it's like, what's the resistance? And so I got a lot of work going on. I got a lot of things going on, but you know what? I'm going to be done with this really soon. And as soon as I'm done with this project, we're going to be awesome. But hey, let's move in together. Let's move on with our lives. Let's go ahead and plan the future. And it's, but I don't feel connected here. Can we do that connection part first? And then we can talk about the logistical part. And so I think sometimes is that we avoid, not just men, but women, all of us, myself, I've done it.
Oh, yeah.
We're avoiding that what am I afraid of in here? What is going to happen in here if I truly open up and trust that person? I'm probably, having had all more relationships than probably I care to admit, but experiences. And I've had those where it's been incredible trust, total connection. And then there are other orgasms where it's faking it all the time to make that guy feel like he's the most important man in the world. And at some point, that's not a good idea either, because then he thinks he's the most important, he's the most awesome lover in the world, when actually he sucks. But it's like the fear of opening up and saying what I really think. And I've learned that just recently. So it's a work in progress, but just that really opening up to what I need and want and saying it and not being committed to the outcome, meaning not being willing to lose that person, being willing to feel rejection, being willing to be judged, being willing to be abandoned, to say what it is I really need or want. And if it's uncomfortable and it's not working and that person's not willing, then having the courage to end it and find something new. That is, I think, ancestors in my family, I've seen so many women, is just that fear of being on their own, that courage to stand alone, like Brene Brown says, is that is the hardest part. And it feels powerful. It feels strong sometimes. And then the weaker moments, it feels scary, but it's that trust. And if we don't have that trust and that person doesn't trust us back, and it's so deep, I think I got skipped ahead, but I want to go back to this thing about the idea of really feeling that connection, really feeling that intimacy. And I think sometimes we will avoid, I've got to be with the kids, or I've got to go do this project, or so-and-so, my mother needs me to go and visit and help her with something. And so I can't do it tonight. And so we avoid things in order to, because where you avoid intimacy for the sake of, we look for reasons not to. How do I think about that?
Our human condition, the depth of who we are, is something that we are conditioned and raised to hide. And this is where I have so much emotion for humankind. And this is where I can start crying. This is the other thing. We are emotive beings as women. We shut our emotions down all the time. When we look at numbness in a woman's vagina, it's because most women have spent their lives holding back on that. You're meant to cry in orgasms. We have physical work, emotional work, and spiritual work. So when we take that out of the equation, and we look at, if you get this job, things are going to be okay. If you drive this car, you need to produce, you need to look a certain way. Now that we have social media, it's all of this perception of what something looks like means their success, which is so separate from who we are, that the fear of actually speaking our truth is so huge that we give up who we truly are just to be present in front of someone, hoping that they receive our lie about ourselves. And so then most relationships, even business relationship, friendships, are all based on a box of lies of hope. Of course, you're going to throw yourself into work. Someone else's no, there's something you were just saying, but someone else's no is about them, not you. Yeah. So if we're to share our truth, and we're too afraid of sharing our truth because they're going to reject us, but if you're going to lie to be accepted, then you're rejecting yourself. That's abandonment.
That is exactly, yes. Yes,
that's so afraid of someone else abandoning us when we
abandon ourselves. We're betraying ourselves by not being honest.
Yeah.
And I did not know that for 51 years. I finally figured that out, is that, oh my gosh, every time I'm settling in something or accepting something, or holding or pretending, I'm betraying myself.
Yeah. And we are fed the scenario that happiness equals another. And our humankind is going through a huge shift. I know when I was being raised in the 90s, 80s and the 90s, find your twin flame. Like you've got to find your twin flame. And maybe.
I hope there's more than one.
I know, it's like, a reason to see lifetime. Yeah. And the perceived perception that there's failure in being single. So if that's your drive, that you fail by being single, I always ask my clients first, but where's your success in where you are right now? Do you feel truly happy? And how can you be happier? And where can you bring more pleasure? Because if you're seeking another and you're seeking out there, it's always going to be empty, because here we go again. You're lying, you're shifting, you're contracting, all of the stuff that we're doing so that we look different, because we don't want to look our age. We just don't want to present ourselves as who we are. We're not going to tell the truth to catch the other person. So it's like you're manipulating. They're manipulating you, you're manipulating them, and we're all being manipulated. And then we're in the box of relationship that we thought we've caught, and now there's no truth. Of course, we can't have really deep sex. And yet we're there to be with another, to have sex and to create. And yet we've gone in because we're all playing the social light. When I say we all, I'm talking generically.
Yeah.
Collectively, yeah. And to me, I'm like, where have we lost the fact that who we are is enough? Who we are is more than enough. The fact that we wake up and get out of bed, it's like, are you serious? We're winning. I'm up. My eyes are open. I'm going to get into the day. We're winning already. We've fed this production lie to produce. I need to be better. I need to be fitter. I need to do this. Oh my God, it doesn't stop.
What do you think is, what do you think today for people that are starting over? Maybe they've been in relationship, or I know I've had so many people from my last interview, they were either ending relationship, they're in relationship that they're not completely satisfied with. What is that one thing that you could say that, and I'm going to totally recommend everything you're up to, because I know you have some courses and you have some programs coming up, and I'd love everyone to participate and get in touch with you. What would be the one thing you'd say that you could offer them? I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I'm this age. And I just don't feel sexy. I don't feel sensual. I don't know how to feel alive. I feel like I'm lost. Like it's too late for me. What would be something?
Oh, this too late thing. Oh my goodness. That breaks my heart when I hear that. Look at here, we have two incredible examples. Like coming into a 50s is like a whole regeneration of like rejuvenation. It's what's the word that I use? And you sent that post to me this morning. It's not menopause, it's regenopause. We rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Same for men. This is the other thing, our sexual energy. So one thing I would say is we're responsible for our own pleasure. It is never too late. And we're also fed this lie. If we look at the crippling of the aging curve, like how we cripple, it's because we've had a life full of cortisol. You get to hack that. Men that masturbate really well and move this energy up their spine into their brain. Oh, I don't know if I can bring that here. No, I won't bring that here. That might be too much.
We'll have to do another one and say this is a version.
The more it's rated. But men, that your masturbation practices is designed to rejuvenate your body and keep you in your power. Ejaculation and orgasm are two completely different things. Masturbation is it's your cock gym. It's not about always ejaculating. Your power lies in using that energy through your body and your head. Like it's all of that, all of the hormones. I worked with a guy in Canada who what had happened? He'd had an accident. He'd gone to hospital. Whilst in the hospital, they really messed up with some stuff. So they went back to get some stuff redone. They messed up. Oh my God, he was on this poor guy. So they kept one of the pills that he had to keep taking, was dopamine. They were injecting dopamine into him, or he had to take all of these pills. I'm like, honey, let me teach you how to masturbate well. He's like, what? So I'm going to take you on as a case study. Like, I'm not charging you. I met him through a friend of mine. I went, I'm in Canada for another few months. Let's go. We're going to have a meeting once a week. I'm going to teach you how to masturbate well. Did 3 weeks. 3 weeks he was off his dopamine pills.
Oh,
because his body produces it. So no one ever talked to him about sex. No one ever talked to him about pleasure. Our bodies are a multi-billion-dollar factory. Yeah. So you flush cortisol out of your body by infusing dopamine and oxytocin into it. How do we do that? Women, pussy patting your clitoris. That's what the physical orgasm is designed to flush all the cortisol out so you can go back. So we completely go back to work. We're completely responsible for our own pleasure. It is never too late. That is complete dogma. We've been bullied. We've been bullied and lied to by companies that are here to make money out of our depression, out of our disconnect through our body, because we're fucking dangerous. Women are dangerous to a system. We're dangerous, and we're a danger to systems that need us under control of not knowing the power and the creativity in our orgasmic state. Same thing with men. A system needs men to be addicted to the quick release, oh, look, now you've got erectile dysfunction. Now we have premature ejaculation. Awesome. This is great to keep you depressed and keep you, it's like, step out of that. That's the true revolution. That's true rebellion, to actually take full responsibility yourself. And what is sex? This is one thing that we're talking about, but sex is how we satiate our desires. We're conditioned to think that sex is P in V, penis in vagina, penis in anus. That is one freaking tiny, I like to say the word pathetic. It's not pathetic. It's glorious when it happens, when we're so open, but it's been conditioned to this pathetic little corner. So that's it. That's all you're doing. Oh, honey, you've got about 7%. You're running on about 7%. So if we're looking at, oh, it's all over for me, it's because we've been conditioned that is it. Our desires, we're also conditioned to and bullied to get rid of our desires. I lived in spiritual community, like the spiritual bypassing that goes on in many communities about you got to get rid of your desires. That's another bully tactic towards the feminine. We're full of desire, we're full of want, we're full of need. It just doesn't fit work, it doesn't fit well into the 9 to 5, 6 days a week system. We've got to have you exhausted.
It's true. And a lot of times women think that there's that asking. It's that being comfortable with, everyone says, well, love yourself, and then someone will love you kind of thing. But there's that expressing what the desires are that we have. And just, I think that is so key. And I think that is one of the biggest takeaways I had, was learning that from you, is one, what was available to me. It's, wow, okay, there's a menu here. I didn't know that we could do all that. I'm like, I knew about a couple of different orgasms, but I'm like, wait, what? And so there were so many different things that you taught and teach that just opened my eyes. And I'm like, oh, okay. But even beyond that, it's how to feel this just like acceptance that it's okay. And I think you've messed everybody up in that group, because in a good way, but it's like women are walking around going, 45 minutes.
I'm so glad you just brought that up.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. Yeah.
So we're looking at like the overwhelm of
45 minutes.
Yes, the overwhelm of 45 minutes. If we look at how sex is how we satiate our desires, and also this, I want to get rid of the word foreplay. It is core play. Another thing, there's no such thing as foreplay. It is core play. It's constant. We're looking at, when does foreplay or core play begin? It's after the last orgasm. When you're in a constant state, the erotic, if we're looking at the erotic environment, you're text messaging to your woman. And man, say you have an incredible sex evening or morning or whatever, you go out to work, you're getting your coffee. If you text your woman, oh my God, I can still taste your pussy on my lips. This is where, okay, you like, the map of arousal for the feminine is brain, heart, pussy. It's not about always 45 minutes physical. Okay, I walked in the door, now I've got to spend 45 minutes on you. You spend a whole day keeping her open.
Siri, set the alarm for 45 minutes.
I know, people freak out. You spend the whole day. You can have a woman open where her pussy is so wet for you, gagging for you, cities apart. How are you messaging her? What are the text messages? What is it when you're in the house, when you walk by? How are you looking at her? What are the words you're saying to her? You want a woman waiting for you on the bed for when you walk in the door. Start at 9 a.m. You want to come, you've got this desire. God, I just want to come home to my woman at 5. And you say, you walk out the door, babe, I'm coming home at 5:05 today, and you better be on the bed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know women are like, yeah. So then, and then you spend the day dropping in. Her mind is like, oh, where is he? Where is he? Oh my God, when is he coming? Oh, what's the time? She's going to spend a whole day making sure that she's ready at 5. Yeah. Oh yeah. She's like planning, and all her friends.
Whatever you're doing during the day, whatever you're doing during the day, whatever's going on, you feel so freaking powerful, hot, desired, unstoppable in that space, anticipation. And I love that. And then I'm all of a sudden, as you're saying this, I can hear men going, I don't want to do that. I can't do that. I don't know how to talk like that. That's not my thing. I don't know how to do all that. It's not me. So how do you address men who are going, I'm not comfortable with that talk or that kind of conversation with talking about it so much, like that, like even like sexting and just, I don't know if I can do that. What do you say about that?
This is all about conversation and curiosity, isn't it? If it's, I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to do it. It's like, if you want different results in your life, you've got to do something different. And my question always is, so what is it that, and this is where my accelerated evolution processing comes in, where we look at the charge in the body, we remove that charge through different processes, which gives freedom. So if we look at, I don't know how to do that, I feel silly, where have you been told? Where have you been shut down? But it's not this fact of, okay, this is what you need to do, go ahead and do it. If there's contraction, shut down, fear, then we look at that. Also get with your beautiful partner and sit down, okay, what words work? This is together. That's also another conversation. Take your woman out for dinner. Get the corner table, have 2 pieces of paper, get your pen, and have a sexy fucking dinner date where it's like, what are all the words that you love hearing? Yeah. Does fuck work for you? Does cock work? Maybe that is it. So I'm not saying I love the word cock. It doesn't mean everyone has to. Your woman might contract, or the man might, oh my God, don't say that. Awesome. What can I say? What can I say? Go on a date that's just about what words work and what words don't work. What words work when you're feeling really open. Like, this word works when you're coming inside of me. Do not use it when you're in the office texting me. Awesome. Now you've got information. The fact that people will talk about roses and flowers and what pavement and what bricks, and they spend their whole year, their whole life talking about houses they want and the holidays they want to go on to. But what are you going to do in the house, and what are you going to do on the holiday? That we can't talk about sex is insane. To me, it's so painful. And it doesn't mean, okay, just do it. It's like, okay, let's look at what's holding you back. Let's look at what you can do. Let's look at what is possible. I find it, I've had young clients I remember this one young man, it was so amazing. I had a year of like, all of my clients were 21 to 27, mostly men. Yeah, these young men that they were like finding themselves addicted to porn, all of this stuff. That their lives are like, holy shit, is this what I've got until I'm 60? No. And they were doing so well in their businesses, but they'd reached a cap. This one guy was 20, said, I've reached a cap. There's like this porn addiction, the depletion. It was so beautiful to be supporting all of these men. But this one guy, I remember, he wanted to manifest a woman in his life. So they'd had 3-4 weeks together. He did. We had 2 weeks together. Then he manifested this woman, 3-4 weeks together. And I had given him at the very beginning this set of questions, a beautiful tantric container to have with her. Okay, we've got 4 weeks in, they've been seeing each other. And I said, so how have you gone with those questions? They're going, oh, I haven't done it yet. And I leaned in, I went, so hang on, have you guys had sex? And he's like, yes. And I said, so you're putting your penis inside of her vagina, but you haven't asked her what she likes? I'm like, doesn't fly. You want her, like, I'm like, how can you know? Because he's giving it to him that way. It's like, you think we're raised to think that it's strange and embarrassing to ask this question, yet it's not strange and embarrassing to get naked and to enter into her universe. This is why women are so shut down. They're allowing themselves to be entered the universe of their epigenetics, of their family lineage, of this is your God consciousness. A direct line to God is when the eye of the cock meets the eye of the cervix. Yeah, that's your direct, that is God consciousness. That is when you hit into the outer realms. Everyone's going off to do ayahuasca. These couples go together to do ayahuasca together and they're not having great sex, but they're taking psychedelics to meet God. I'm like, God is in your bedroom.
You can do it without that. You can do it without that.
You can do both. I'm not here to shame either. Yeah. Do both. But I think it's really funny that people will go and see a shaman and they're not even having sex and trying to find God.
So what happened to the guy who said, I love what you just said about you're having sex with someone and you don't even know what she wants or what she likes.
Yeah. And the thing was, I think she's too nervous to tell me. I don't know if she knows. I'm like, but this is the container you hold. As a man, you lead in greatness. This is your boundary. And this is what I say to men. If you ask a woman, what do you like? And she goes, oh, I don't know. You keep your clothes on. You're like, okay, let's find out. What happens if I was to do this? You don't move forward with a lie. And when I say a lie, like a no communication and non-communication, because the woman is lying to herself a whole life. And the fact of, I don't know, I'm just trying to broaden the word lie there. It's okay. How about this? If I was to do this, that does it. Because nothing's a failure. It's information.
Nothing's a failure. I love that phrase. Nothing's a failure.
How can it be a failure when you know what doesn't work? Awesome. Now I know what doesn't work. What happens if I did this? That's not a failure. We don't treat our businesses this way.
You know what I love you said? I love what you said there too, is the suggestive comments or the suggestions for the man to take the lead, because that is something that actually I've had this happen to me where I'm like, I really love conversation. I'd love to know for you to tell me what you're experiencing, or what do you like? And the person said, I'm just not good at that. I've never been good at that. I don't like to talk about it, and I don't say anything. And that's your area. You take the lead on that. You're gonna have to take the lead, because I don't know how to do that. Like, wow. And suddenly my feminine sensual energy went into, I've got to take the lead now. Then the polarity, which is a whole nother conversation. I think we need to do another talk on polarity, because I know you do. That is so awesome. The conversation that you have there is just that it was gone. Suddenly I felt like I was unsafe, like I couldn't trust him. And even more importantly, it was almost like, here's a big one, and this is all vulnerable, but I wasn't worth it, because he wasn't willing to try.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't important enough. And I think that was really where I just got smaller and smaller. So sex is not just about this, again, taboo, dirty thing that we do and we don't talk about. It affects when we get an opportunity to crack ourselves open and learn more about ourselves, when we're willing to learn more about this, because it's really the door that shows us who we really are.
Yeah. Can I give you an example on that of just what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But first, I'm going to do a bit of biology and sciencey stuff. So if we look at the vagus nerve, okay, that is fight and flight, the vagus nerve.
So what's the vagus nerve, for those who don't know?
Oh, the vagus nerve is the nerve that comes from, so it starts in the brain, goes through your throat, goes around your heart. For women, it starts or finishes at the cervix. For men, it's at the base of the cock. Okay. So the vagus nerve is responsible, is that your fight and flight system. Yeah, like it'll go into adrenaline overdrive. I've got to get the fuck out of here. Okay.
Okay.
So the fact that it's connected to your throat, when we open our throat, this is where deep throating is a spiritual practice, another conversation. But when we actually speak our truth, so if we think of the opposite, contraction, I'm not telling my truth, I'm too afraid. If I say what I want to say is going to make me wrong, they're not going to like me. So I've got to get out of here, as in I'm going to stay silent. That's direct on the cervix, painful, numb cervix, heart closed. I'm just what you're explaining. Oh, he's not willing to try. This is not a co-creation. Your heart's closed. Your heart's closed. That goes straight down to the cervix. For men, if you're not going to speak your truth and you're not willing to be vulnerable, soft cock, erectile dysfunction, because the base of your cock, the nerve, is in constant cortisol. I'm out of here. No, even the way that your body changed when you were sharing how he spoke. Oh, I'm not good at that. Look at that. That's fight and flight. I'm the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. The brain's neo. I'm out of here. Throat's closed, heart's closed, base of cock. Boom. So this is what people don't understand. Is like this place that we go to, the vulnerability. So I'm going to give you this incredible example.
Okay.
My body's reacting already. This is a memory. This is what happened. When I lived in Puerto Escondido, I met this beautiful young man. Oh, glorious young man. And this is the other thing about sex, is how we satiate our desires. He was really busy. He was running on 3 jobs. He came to Mexico to take some time off, which wasn't happening. I was organizing my huge birthday party, which was a big event. And I was studying with Jaira at the time. I had all of this stuff on. And he was only going to be in town for a week. And I'm like, okay, this is not going to stand in our way. Let's put up our schedule. So we had fellatio dates, like literally 12 minutes. He would walk in, I'd set the alarm, and we'd have a fellatio date. We'd do all of this stuff and did it. And we just like, boom. And
here's a real quick fellatio, because a lot of people don't know what that word means.
Fellatio is
oral sex.
Honoring the genitals. Yeah, oral sex. Thank you. Yeah. So we had this one moment that was a 2-hour sex date. Yeah. Like he actually shifted meetings, because we were just like, okay, I'm going to shift this 2-hour sex date. And we had this thing of the alarm had to be on so that our brains could let go. I didn't want to keep on checking the clock. He didn't want to keep checking on the clock. So we just had 2 hours. So of course, by the time we got to this 2 hours, it's been 3-4 days of all of these little bits. And so I asked him, I said, would you be willing to do this tantric process, this communication? And he goes, normally I'd say no, but you fucking blow my mind. Like I've had more fun in the 12-minute getting togethers than I've ever had with women. So he was 27. He's like, in my whole life. He goes, I'm willing to give it a go. And I said, look, it should only take 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. So these 3 questions. And you can do the questions. You can ask them 3 times, or you can ask them 7. 7 is great because it gets down into the primal brain. So I asked him, I said, we'll start at 3, because he was really nervous. And he says, I've never told people this stuff. So we just did some eye gazing. I asked him 3 times this one question, what are you afraid of? And he got after the 3rd question, he's going, let's do 7. He goes, I've never experienced myself this way. Can we do 7? So we did that. Then he asked me 7 times. Then it was the next question 7 times each. Then the 3rd question 7 times each. That took an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, the whole talking, because there was tears, there was laughter, there was this thing, our bodies. That fuck session for another 20 minutes was the most, of course, my body's open. We're looking about 45 minutes. He hadn't touched me. My pussy reach out and pull. This is what pussies do. If you spend 45 minutes on the clitoris, the labia is going to open, the inner labia is going to open it, and she's going to reach out and pull the cock in. That a man doesn't go in and penetrate, he gets invited in, like form. This is that other thing. Men are raised to penetrate the world, so they just go into the woman as opposed to being sucked in. And so this, all I'm doing is talking about the power of vulnerability, the power of your mind softening, opening, your heart opening, the throat opening. Because I'm not telling his name and he'll probably never listen to this, but I don't even know where he lives anymore. But his words are even like, my cock was so fucking hard and all we've done is talk for an hour and a half. He's going, who are you? But this is the power. Yeah, but men understand, and also women to understand. When your heart opens, your pussy opens. When your brain's turned on and your heart is safe, your pussy is so open and so wet. And because it's not this act, it's a place. And we went to this place for an hour and a half, and that next 20, 30 minutes was just like, I doubt we could have created that by, oh my God, we've got 2 hours, let's go. That's all of that stress of we've only got 2 hours. And here's this 2 hour, when we look at 3-hour sex dates, when I give my couples and give my people that I work with 3-hour sex dates, I'm like, we're not talking about fucking for 3 hours. We're talking about this date that's 3 hours long, that is dedicated to your intimacy. You may, like on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th week that you do it, you may feel like clothes are ripping off and you are in it physically for 3 hours. But a 3-hour sex date can be, this hour and a half of really connecting, of doing touch exercises. So by the time you get to actual physical penetration of the genitals, holy Jesus, that's that stuff. That is God consciousness. That is going to deeper realms. And also sex, it's like then that 20 minutes, neither of us, the alarm went off, neither of us, what is finishing? You never finish. But Jesus Christ, he did, like, I went back into creation. He went as a firecracker back into his work, and then all of the text messages, and then you're open for another 2 days. That is sex. That's satiating the desires. And that is vulnerability that brings about the absolute power of our orgasm. It's incredible.
It is, yeah. I think then I have to wonder, like, why wouldn't every man want that? Why wouldn't every woman want that? And then I think about the woman who's probably listening to this and watching this going, yeah, but I don't know how to convince my guy to do that or to want to do that. And they're frustrated. And are they the one to take the lead? Or is there a way for them to feel satisfied where they are? I don't think my intention or anybody's intention is to have this mass exodus from relationships that they're not getting their needs met. Idea of that's not the goal, but the idea is how to live a fulfilled life in this beautiful, amazing, these earthly bodies that we've been given to experience sensuality and sexuality. And how can they feel satisfied and be in a relationship where I do see this in personal development all the time, where one's really advanced, or even in a religious setting where one's going to church, the other one's not. And then there's this equally yoked scenario. So how do you have people feel comfortable when one's willing and the other's not?
Yeah, it's an invitation, isn't it? It's an invitation and asking of the willingness. But also too, it's in relationship. We're always shifting and changing. There's this belief that when you get together, you always shift and change. Our bodies shift and change. Our blood cells are dying all the time and rejuvenating. We're always in constant flux and change. Our businesses are always changing. Our children change. It is the relationship. So to believe that it wasn't like this when we got together, it's like, of course not. 1 week after you've gotten together, it's different. That's that perceived perception of safety. So often too, the example that you're giving, like where women or men, I have male clients that come to me that are in so much pain that their women will not open up, their women will not talk about it, their women will not allow themselves time, they won't take responsibility for their own pleasure. and they just believe they're past it, and it's so painful. So then it's the conversation of what is the willingness, the invitation. But if anyone's listening and you're in this place, because especially it brings around misery, if you're not happy, then it comes into, hey, we're in this relationship together. This is what I really need and want. What have you given up on? Men, we all give up on so much. What do you want? And if this person is not receiving like a full yes, or it doesn't mean they have to not open themselves up. And I'm not talking about polyamory, because a rising tide lifts all boats. Jaya says that a lot. A rising tide lifts all boats. And I've seen it where I've even had clients that come with their partner, and male clients, their partner's like, nope, and then she receives her man. She's like, oh, okay. Like, where he's taking the lead, he's making sure he's taking more time, he's doing all of this stuff. And then she's like, oh my God, it's not that you have to go at the same time. This is also life. One rises and next one rises. It's how we shut ourselves down, because we are allowing the barometer of our happiness to be indicative of another's yes or no. Your happiness isn't indicative of someone else.
Or blaming someone else because they're not doing it. And I'm wanting to, but they're not. And so there's always that,
what
like,
is this permission
give up
thing?
the victim, give up the victim, take responsibility for your own pleasure. I love that.
Exactly. Your marriage doesn't mean you have to stay in a low level of acceptance because your partner won't do something. What is that? Like, you guys are not this one whole being. Relationship is made up of three entities: person A, person B, and the relationship's person C. Person A and B need to nurture their own selves to contribute to the nurturing and the growing of person C, of relationship. So when you start taking care of yourself, and you start, if we think about the energy of that too, is if we have an energy of relationship that's whatever it is, and this person goes, I want something to change, then this person is looking, going, but what? I don't know what it looks like. So then we can lead by example. We go and do our own work. Women can have an orgasm a day, 3-4 a day without her partner. She starts, her energy's different, the way she's showing up, then that's going to, it's the bee doesn't go to a green plant, it goes to the flower. I'm not saying you have to contort yourselves at all, but when you're in your orgasmic state and you're happier and you're having more fun, you're spending more time with your girlfriends and you've got more oxytocin going on, then he's going to shift. He has to. It's like, it's science. He's going to shift. And if he doesn't shift, wow, what are you willing? Are you able to stay in the relationship where you're just looking after yourself? Is there another conversation? Say, hey, I really hear that you're definitely not interested, but I am. Can we open the ability? And I'm not, once again, not talking about polyamorous all the time, as you with shibari, we satiate our desires in different ways. We can be around women and have such a beautiful time that our oxytocin has really risen. We don't always have to be looking to our men. We definitely shouldn't be looking to our men for that. You can go down beautiful.
Because I think we have that, where a lot of times we expect everything today from our partner. They should be our friend, our best friend.
That's a death sentence. That's an absolute death sentence.
Highly unrealistic and very difficult. And I think at the end of the day, we're let down, and it's just a road to disappointment. And so having multiple ways, as you just outlets to be able to connect, which brings me to this thing about what I do. And my whole purpose in life is to connect. And it's to connect people, information, places, experiences, and resources. And it's what I call the Piper effect. And so to me, this whole thing about connecting to yourself, connecting to someone else, just really getting in touch with who we are. And I think this is why I thought of you so quickly when I said, who do I want to interview when I started this channel? And you were like, yep, I remember, I want Melissa so badly. And I think what people are missing is that connection with one another in its authentic connection, and just leaning in and not being afraid to try something new, to be a little vulnerable, to say, I've always wanted to try this, or I've wanted to do this. And I've seen relationships I've been in where they started out, it's not so great. I don't know if this is going to last. And then all of a sudden, one person, maybe it was me, said, hey, I'd sure try whatever it was, I won't say. And then the person said, sure. Oh, so it was like this part of this relationship to a totally different relationship, just like that, by saying one thing. And it opens up sometimes. And maybe the other person isn't interested, but if they are, and I'm not saying it has to be crazy, kinky stuff. I'm just saying to be willing to even say, I love it when you touch me this way. And I loved what you said, and I'm going to mark this. I love this thing about words and conversations and when to have those kind of words, because there's some words that just are icky to people. And then there are other words that, instead increasing the vocabulary. So we talk about love languages, but and words of affirmation, but I think there's like a sex languages or like having this erotic, sensual conversation. What's really a turn on for me versus, oh no, don't do that. And then a lot of times, well, someone will say that to us all the time. It's, I hate when they say that. And then we don't ever say anything. It's like, why don't we
I
say
know.
something? Why don't we just say, you know what, babe, I really hate it when you use that word about my genitalia. Please don't do that. But not in a shameful way, because men are sensitive.
Not in a shameful way. Oh, and this is the beautiful thing.
I know what I really love when you say is this word. And then they go, oh, okay.
Giving, this is women, I so wish we could learn more of this. It's like giving your men the tools so he can win. Instead of just complaining all the time, give them the stuff that they need to have so that they can win. Oh my goodness. This expectation that we should all know. He should just know. Really? Like how, when, where, and why. And it's when you're speaking about the different words, it's like this, if we look at how our culture plays, called dirty talk, straight away our nervous systems as kids, wherever you first heard, oh, are you into dirty talk? Dirty is something filthy. So then we have this construct in the nervous system, in the brain, negative. It's not dirty. It's, oh my God, it's pleasurable. It's orgasmic. It's co-creative. And you can't, and also too, where we don't yuck someone's yum. It's like, just because
I love that. We don't yuck someone's yum.
Yeah. Just because your partner loves that word, especially when you're giving the example about genitalia. And it's also being curious. It's like, I'm just curious why you love that word. Do you know what happens, babe? When you say that word, oh my God, my brain switches off and my jaw clenches and my stomach, and it really closes me off to you. I'm really curious, where did you get that word from? Like, I have such a reaction to it of, I'm going to fucking run to the hills, and you say it all the time. This is a fun thing to have in the kitchen, whatever, or in the shower. Hey, babe, there's something I want to ask you. You know that word you use? And he's, yeah. And he goes, yeah. Oh my God, my whole body. And getting curious, because maybe his last partner, or maybe he's seen it somewhere and he's assuming. And then it's, do you know what word really works for me? Is this word. And then when he says it, show him how it works in the body. Show him and get him. Then he gets to witness, oh my God, and boom, now you're winning. There's so much fun to be had in conversing. We have this perception that, oh my God, I've got to tell him I don't like it, and it's a contraction, and he's going to react, and now we're going to have a fight, and then he's going to get annoyed. We go into conversations with this belief. Okay, what you believe, you'll create. Yes, you're going to keep on creating, and people are creating that for decades, instead of going, let's find a different way. Let's have fun. Let's be sexy about it. That's what I'm saying. Take your woman out for dinner. Put a blanket in the backyard with candles and send your woman a message going, get out here now. Wear the lingerie, get out here now. I've got some questions to ask you, and I'm going to feed you. Don't make it fun. And have a conversation around sex. Fun.
Love that idea. I love all those things. It's like just the anticipation, the excitement, the surprise, all of that is just like yummy. And then I'm thinking, I guess what it is, what are some things, what is it that you're up to that people who are listening, men and women, I know you have a program. I want you to tell us a little bit about how you can, if people are curious and they want to know more and they want to work with you. I know you do amazing one-on-one coaching with men and with women as well. And you have a program coming up for men. So tell me a little bit about some of the programs so we can win.
Yes.
We'll put all the links on my website to go to you. And I'm going to talk to you later about maybe doing some special offers for my listeners, but we're going to get
that would be wonderful. Yes. So just let me start with couples, because that's already up there. I have an evergreen course in my school, and it's called Deeper Relating. And all of that is 6 weeks where couples get to go through all of these different practices around communication, different ways to communicate, different practices around touch. There's some tantric practices in there. And that whole course is designed to bring you deeper into yourself, into the relationship, so that you're relating on a deeper level, so that your sex becomes deeper. It's infamous where so many people that I work with or go through this course say, we've been working for 3-4 weeks and I'm having better orgasms now, and we haven't even talked about sex. And so this is where that course got created out of that. It's around how we relate deeper with ourselves. So that's an evergreen course. You can just purchase that, and self-paced. But with my men, this is my inaugural, my infamous Occupy Your Cock course for men. And that will be an evergreen, but on May the 17th, because I'm just putting it all up in the school, is I'm going to be taking men through live. So we're going to have coaching calls every week. Plus, you're going to have access to the school, of course. And our coaching calls will be sent out to the men that are a part of it on this round, but those calls won't be up in the school for anyone else later on. So I'm just explaining that because I'm really integral around privacy. And the fact that this first one, I'm taking people through one-on-one. Occupy Your Cock is where I get to really support men to last longer in bed, which gives them the freedom, the power. They get in touch with their vital energy. They're able to hold the space with their woman. So they have this confidence that takes them from the bedroom to the boardroom. Because as we touched on, when you last longer in bed, you're going to be making more money. It's an equation. It's science. But that whole 6 weeks, we go into pussyology or yoniology. We actually really speak about the female body, her gateways of orgasm. 1 week is on that. But the first 3 weeks is all cockology, which is all about their cock, their sexual energy, their vital energy, their brain, the response system, their neural pathways. So it's very practical, and you get all of the videos. I've spent the last year creating all of these videos. There's a thing called cock yoga. It's really content rich, but it's all about the man and his power, his divine sexual energy. This is his greatness. It's all about the greatness of men, of what's available in their body and their life when they do that. And this is all ancient knowledge. It's not this new stuff that we're all making up. This is what the Taoists and the Tantrics taught people for centuries. Yeah. Because they had a lot more time to be making love. That's where they centered their lives, because they went into so much production. And then yes, of course, anyone can work with me one-on-one. If you do the men's course, you then also get a scholarship off if you want to continue working one-on-one with me. Women can book a discovery call with me. And yeah, I'd love to give women, anyone that comes through you will get $1,000 scholarship on my 3-month program.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
thank you. That would be great.
And there is a women's program coming in July, the full moon of July, which I believe is the 3rd. I'm so into the whole cycles of like where we work as a feminine. So the 3rd of July, which I'm pretty sure that's the full moon. It's actually a 8-week. I'm co-creating with my doctor, my Chinese doctor, and she's an MD. Dr. Seven Crow. I met her in Peru when we lived there, when I first started working with Alison Armstrong way back then when my son was 8. So she now lives in Mexico as well. And so we've co-created this 2-month journey for women only through the gateways of the sensual woman, and using microdosing as a tool like that of plant medicine. And so it's more than just microdosing, it's all plants, not all psychedelic plants, but the plant medicine that is our allies. And then we're looking at rose, we're looking at mint, we're looking at everything, as well as microdosing as well. So that's a really deep journey. So that's starting July, and you can just reach out to me. And
Okay. Okay. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I tell you, every time we talk, we've done clubhouse rooms together. We've obviously chatted before also, and then having you at YBL that time, it just really opened my eyes to so many things. And since then I've just experienced so much more pleasure, blissfulness, and just being more sensual and appreciating and seeing my sensuality, which no one thinks about that. They go, sexuality, are we attracting? Are we being sluts? Are we feeling, how are we dressing, looking, whatever? And it's there's that word that I never understood before I met you, or you talked to us, is sensuality. Yeah. And so thank you for that, because that was this beautiful part of our soul and who we are. And it's not dirty, and it's not something that is taboo or that we should be ashamed of. So thank you for that. Thanks for today.
So my pleasure. So my pleasure.
And I think we should definitely do another one soon. We need to come up with, I would love to talk another topic. So thank you so much for, all right.
So my pleasure. It's been so delightful. Ciao, ciao.
My pleasure. Okay.